Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Doodles, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Rocker 15 Tour from Orange Amps. Now, earlier this year, Orange released two brand new amps. They released this Rocker 15 Tour, which I'm reviewing in this video, as well as the new signature model for Brent Hinds of Mastodon, which is also a 15-watt Tour amp. I'll also be reviewing that one on the channel too, so make sure you stick around, subscribe, and you won't miss out when that one goes live. But for now, we are talking about the Rocker 15. Now, before we get started, I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Orange Amps. They kindly sent me all of this gear to review. They sent me the Rocker 15 Tour, they sent me the Brent Hinds Tour, they sent me a vertical 2x12 cab so I can actually play with things, and they sent me the Crush Mini battery powered amp. All three amps will be reviewed on the channel, and the 2x12 will be used in both the Rocker 15 and the Brent Hinds Tour review. So thank you, Orange, for that. It really means a lot. But now back to the amps themselves. This is a 15-watt lunchbox amp, and even though it's only 15 watts, man, this thing is super loud. It's got two EL84 tubes in the power amp section. You can take it from 15 watts to 7 watts, or you can even go to 1 watt and half a watt. And I thought I was playing in the 7.5 watt mode, and I wasn't able to take it over like volume 1.5 kind of thing, because obviously I'm living in a house. I've got neighbours on the other side of the wall, so I've sort of got to be very conscious about my volume level. So I thought I was on 7 watts. I thought I'd had it at half volume, half power rather, and I thought I would turn it down to maybe 1 watt or half a watt mode, and then maybe that means I could crank it up a little bit more and still not annoy the neighbours too much. And it turns out I've been playing on half a watt mode this whole time, and I haven't been able to comfortably take it over 1.5 in the volume in this room here. So yeah, I've got to say that I reckon 15 watts will be more than enough to handle band practices, smaller venues. If you start playing any sort of mid-sized, larger venues, you can be mic'd up anywhere, potentially running at the PA. So 15 watts is going to be more than enough for anything from the bedroom like we're doing here all the way to the stage. And this is in a metal housing, and trust me, this thing is heavy, it is bulky, it is sturdy. This thing could survive the road, and it's probably a good thing, because the Brent Hinds amp, which I'm going to be reviewing in a separate video, it's pretty much exactly the same as this when it comes to the housing, the power amp, etc. And Brent Hinds is a pretty big artist playing some pretty big venues, and he's got a 15 watt signature amp, and that is more than enough for him. So this is definitely going to be more than enough for you. So for the mix, you're going to be hearing a blend of both the vertical 2x12, the Orange 2x12, as well as me running a cable from the send part of the effects loop into my audio interface, and then using a Marshall G112 impulse response cabinet in order to get the tone. So they're going to be hearing a blend of them two in the rhythm section. So the rhythm section is actually quad tracked, and then for the clean section in the intro, it's going to be using the impulse response, and for the solo, you're going to be hearing just the mic from the 2x12. For the mic, I'm using a SM57 clone from Toman. I think it's the T-Bone brand. It's basically it's a SM57 clone. It's identical in every way to the SM57, and then obviously you're going to be hearing the impulse response as well. Without further ado, after all that information is finally out the way, we can finally listen to this thing. Let's just get straight into the mix. Now that we've heard it in the context of a mix, I just want to give a little bit of thought about what I've experienced so far with this amp. We're not going to go into too much detail though, because we're going to talk about it more at the end. But one thing I did notice is that this amp only has EQs when it comes to the drive channel, or the dirty channels they call it, the clean or natural channels they call it, only has this single volume knob. So there is no EQ section of the amp itself, which is a massive down point in my opinion. Probably the only down point in my opinion when it comes to this amp. The EQ is kind of shaped by the volume level. It does sort of alter the EQ as you turn it up or down, but it is super hard to dial in that exact clean tone that you want. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but that is one downside I found when I was recording this thing. There's not a great deal of negative stuff I can say at this point in time about the amp. So let's get straight into the solo playing bit. For this bit, I'm just going to do some playing, just a few riffs, a few chords, a few progressions from some of my own songs, a few riffs that I know from other artists, stuff like that. And what you're going to be hearing is a mixture of 3 different recording methods. On screen, they'll let you know which one is which when the part is playing, but I'm using the SM57 clone on the Orange 2x12 cab. I'm using the impulse response using the send part of the effects loop, and also I'm using this mic here in the middle of the room. It's kind of like a room mic, just to sort of give you a more clear picture of how the amp sounds in the room, because when you mic a cab up, it sounds completely different. So I thought by putting a room mic in, it would at least give a more clear picture of what the amp would sound like to you, because most of us are bedroom musicians, we play at home, so you guys don't care what it sounds like in a studio or on an album or stuff like that. You want to hear what it sounds like when you're playing it in your home. So the room mic is there to sort of give that more of a clear indication. But let's not waste any more time talking, let's just get straight back into the tones. Let's do this. So now that we've heard what this thing can do, let's talk about it a little bit. I've got to say, I am so in love with this amp. It is absolutely incredible in my opinion. This amp pretty much fits the bill for my playing style. It sounds exactly like what I want an amp to sound like, and I could easily use this amp for all of my bands. So if I could use this as my guitar tone in my band Back to Square One. In my opinion, it is my favourite of the two. But like I said, mainly for the playing style that I do, which is more of a pop punk, hard rock kind of style. I'm not too much in the down-tuned stuff, so I'm not entirely sure how this one would handle it, but I do know that the Brenheim one would handle it really well, because obviously Brenheim's goes all the way down to drop A. So yeah, the amp has been designed to accommodate that, but this definitely feels more like your classic rock, hard rock kind of amp. And to be fair, the name is kind of in the title of the Rocker 15. This is a rocker's amp as opposed to a metal guy's amp. It's got that nice sort of British fizz about it, not fizziness in a bad way. I know sometimes people describe fizziness as being a negative thing, but I mean like that classic British, that Marshall tone, that orange tone. Well, orange are British companies of, you know what I mean, that classic British tone that we all know and love. You crank up the distortion. This thing loves the sort of Guns N' Roses, AC/DC riffs. It likes Green Day stuff. It likes sort of pop punk stuff. It is really designed for those type of playing, and it is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I could happily play this one for my own band. I could use it. It is truly fantastic, and I am so sad that I've got to send it back once these reviews are done. But as I mentioned earlier, the clean channel thing is the biggest downside of this amp. That is something that I think I don't play clean very often, but I think I definitely run into some problems when it comes down to it, because I like a certain type of clean tone. Certain parts of the songs call for a certain type of tone, and it is slightly more difficult to get with this amp because there's no shared EQ section. A shared EQ section would have been fantastic. A separate one would have obviously been the icing on the cake. But even just some sort of EQ section on the clean would have been great. Like I said, you have an EQ pedal in order to get the setting that you want, which is going to add another expense on top of buying the amp. So I think if I was to use this for my band, I would probably still use maybe like amplitude or bias effects or something like that for the clean tone, then use this for the drive tones. I think that would probably be the way that I would go if I was to use this amp long term. But apart from that, I've got nothing negative to say about this amp. This is everything that I want in a tube amp, and the fact that it's in a 15 watt version, which goes all the way down to half a watt, that makes it the perfect amp for me in this room, doing the whole YouTube thing, whether I'm recording videos for you guys, whether I'm recording songs for Back to Square One, whether I'm recording covers for my own stuff, video game covers, for that. Everything that I do on this channel, this amp would suit so well. So if you're a bedroom guitarist, or even if you play small to medium sized gigs, this is definitely an amp that you could go and play. You could play it at home, then you could take it out on the road, and it would hold up just fine. I've got nothing but great things to say about this amp. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. If you did, if you want to see more reviews like this on the channel, make sure you give this video a big fat thumbs up. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and click all. That way you'll never miss out when a video goes live on the channel. I just want to give one huge last thank you to Orange for sending me out all of this gear. That was super generous of them. They sent me so much gear to review, and I cannot thank them enough for it. I can't thank them for the opportunity enough. It has been absolutely fantastic, and hopefully it won't be the last time Orange amps are on this channel. Hopefully there'll be a lot more to come in the future. My name is Doodles. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.